Okay. So we have to do an analysis.
Yes.
We have to do an analysis.
Oh my God. I'm so happy.
Don't you have to give a warning, Nick? Because one of these gentlemen for sure forgot to take their birth control.
All right. So these are the mean streets of Lisbon, Portugal. Let me briefly give the backstory on this. There's a guy involved here named Ethan Ralph. He's the host of a show called The Kill Stream, which has been a right-wing YouTube, and then once he was banned off of YouTube, other social media talk show for a very long time. Formerly, he was the editor-in-chief, is still the editor-in-chief of something called The Ralph Retort, which is his webpage before YouTube, where he wrote and blogged about various things. I have been on the Kill Stream several times, full disclosure. What was the timeout, Legal Vices?
So that was Ethan Ralph. I remember him like being thinner than that.
He does too.
Okay. Oh, this makes sense now. Okay.
I have been on the Kill Stream multiple times. I guess it was this year. No, it was last year, right before the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Ethan Ralph decided to sever our friendship and relationship, which was entirely his choice, and that was a choice that he was welcome to make. But I had always been friendly with Ralph. He got mad at me because I laughed that he farted on a 24-hour live stream and his mic picked it up, because I thought it was funny. Because it was very funny, and that was a gross fart, and I would laugh at it again today. So that's the disclosure of what's happened between me and him. Now, Ralph went to Portugal earlier this year, and when he got there, he was unfortunately attacked in some way. I don't know the circumstances, no one knows, but he was pummeled pretty severely by some Portuguese people who stole his man purse, and I list that in there because it is relevant. It was like $1,000 Chanel handbag, or like an $800 Chanel handbag that got stolen from him. And that is something that should not happen. Now, there's speculation that he may have had a part in instigating this fight, but there's no evidence about that. It's just inferred from his character. So with that, he went back to, I should mention the context in which he went to Portugal. Andy Worski is another YouTuber who is family in Portugal. Ralph was mad at Andy Worski, similar to how Ralph was mad at me, but for differing reasons. And he went to Portugal as a taunt/threat to Andy Worski's family. To be very clear, he has also threatened to come to Minnesota because I and Mr. Medicare live in Minnesota, and he has talked about specifically going to where Mr. Medicare is alleged to live and being outside of his house. This is the type of person Ralph has become. So he went to Portugal to own Andy Worski for whatever weird way, and then he got beat up. And
so I'm sorry, Ralph is the one who spends most of the time on the ground in this footage. Do I have him right? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So then this footage is from Ralph's return trip to Portugal, because he got in the fight the first time, like on the first day. And so he looked like a Q-tip, like with a swollen up face, with bandages all over it. And so he probably didn't get to enjoy his trip very much the first time. So he went back, and the person who's engaged in a fight with Ralph, I have to be very clear on this, is a friend of a guy named Cognificent. The videographer here is Cognificent. And if you've never heard of these people, you count yourself lucky. This is a degenerate and ridiculous portion of the internet that should be excised like a cancer and burned like a furry. So Cog is another live streamer. He's the videographer here, and he went to Lisbon, Portugal for the sole purpose of seeking out Ethan Ralph on the street to do what's called a gunt watch. So he went there for this reason. And this is, they located him because he was live streaming. It was kind of, people can put together a location based on landmarks, right? Like anything. They found him and had followed him. I've fast forwarded the video to 5 minutes in. They were following him without interacting for 2 to 3 minutes at this point. And then this this interaction takes place at a corner, a street corner, where Ralph is around the corner from Cog and his friend Dan. Okay,
so this is what happens when purportedly grown-ass men don't have lady friends.
Yeah, I mean that's a way to put it. And here I'm gonna back it up to right here. Yeah. So this is them waiting on the corner. Ralph is around to the right, and I do not condone or endorse any actions of any person.
They've seen him at this point, so that's an important context. They've seen him and they backed around the corner.
Yes, they've followed him unintrusively. He does not seem to know that they're there. They're not whooping and making noises or anything. And then he went around the corner. They've seen him. So here, maybe I'll go back just a couple more seconds to give the proper context, because they see him and they do back around the corner. They go back away from him. So I think that here is a good spot.
He's about 4'5". He's about 5'5".
Come on. Okay, that was him.
That's Ralph.
Yeah. So there's Ralph again with the phone.
So he's shorter than my mate. Let's just say that. Pressing? Nah, we're too public right now.
Hey, what's up, bitch?
Hey, Dick, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, bitch?
What are you doing, bitch? Fuck out of my face, bro. Get the fucking... Fuck you, prick. You piece of shit. Cunt. Yeah, fucking what are you gonna do? What? Huh? What are you gonna do, fucking cunt?
Oh.
Fucking gonna do? What are you coming out before you were a little dickhead?
That's
you
what
fat little gun shit. Yeah, that's right, bleeding. Look at you.
Fuck you, bitch.
You don't want to be.
Bitch. Fuck you, bitch.
Sweet.
Oh shit, that's
You got
loud.
a massive lump on your head, dude.
I don't give a fuck.
Put that on, mate. Looks like a fucking... I know, right? What the fuck's going on there? What's going on there? Dickhead, let's go and get some fucking smoke.
Police in this guy.
Yeah, whatever. Sure, mate. Are you really going again? Ralph, you're going to get bad if you keep swearing. Stop swearing up to him, you fat cunt. Why are you swearing up to him, you fat cunt?
Fuck you, bitch.
Prick. We're walking away. Now fuck off.
Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, we're walking away. Walk away or I'll have you. Walk away or I'll have you. Walk away. Walk away, you fat cunt. Oh, no, big bitch. Fuck you.
Jeez.
Fuck you, we'll leave.
The Portuguese are not happy.
Oh, you're going to follow?
Sorry for that.
Like,
blaring.
The buffet's around the corner, boys.
It's not quite done. It's about to be.
Run away. Shut us. No, we're not.
I'm just saying, I didn't know they made polos this stocky.
Shut up.
It's the beefy fit.
Yeah. Listen to...
Oh, I guess there is a woman involved here. That must be Ralph's lady.
No,
friend.
she's a bystander.
Oh, she is. Okay.
No, Ralph's fiance is at home with their baby in the States. At this point.
Okay.
Dad.
She's very involved for a bystander.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
Sees the guy bleeding, probably, you know.
Oh, shit, Dad.
Then they're back at it again.
Dad, mate. Leave him. Let's go. Leave him. Leave him. Leave him. Let's go.
Okay, so this is the end of the interaction here. That's the gist of it. Okay, so gentlemen, I guess assessment of the reality of this internet idiocy, because to be very clear, this is internet idiocy. This is how stupid shit happens.
Well, if I were in Portugal, I'd be riding a motorcycle through the Pyrenees. I wouldn't be getting into fat boy fights on street corners. That's
You
for
know
sure.
what else too? You can do pretty much any drug in Portugal because it's all decriminalized. There's no criminal penalties for drug use at all whatsoever in Portugal.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Yeah. So to me, there's several encounters that happen. There's the initial encounter in which it's ambiguous as to if any punch is thrown, but certainly Ethan Ralph approaches them in an aggressive manner and gets right into the face.
Yep.
And would you agree with me, Branka, that if someone were to approach you in that type of aggressive manner, using the abrasive language that
especially
he's using,
given the history and the existing hostile relationship, the animus between the two of them, going nose to nose, saying, "Hey, what's up, bitch?" That's that you don't have to be the first person to throw the punch to be the initial physical aggressor. You have to be presenting as an imminent threat of someone about to throw a punch, and that certainly looks like it to me. Now, that said, and it doesn't take anything away from being the initial aggressor. If they pursued him for the purpose of getting into a fight, then there's they could also lose self-defense. It could effectively be a mutual combat type of situation.
Right. And there is some evidence in the form of a tweet that I don't have available, but where Cog either indicated it was either a tweet or another live stream segment where he did indicate that he was going to Portugal to find Ralph and perhaps engage in an altercation. I don't know the exact words. I don't know if it was puffery or whatever, but the analysis would have to include that segment. But I think the analysis would
to
also
the extent
have to
it was
include,
known by the other party for sure.
right?
Yep.
And it may also include the idea that when they found him, though, they did not engage. I mean, that'd be a fact question for a jury in a self-defense analysis. They go, okay, well, we have this tweet of intent, but is this internet tough guy stuff? And then when they show up, do we determine that since they don't attack that tweet was a nothing burger, or do we factor it in? And that would go to a jury.
Yeah. So it could mean nothing. It could mean they were mutual combatants. It could mean they actually, because they didn't follow through on the mutual combat, that they were not actually mutual aggressors, but they presented to Ralph, who'd seen their communications before, as if they were a threat, which could justify his use of force and effectively becomes defensive then. But you need to know that communication, what each party knew, and they're all on their phones. I noticed. So who knows? For all I know, the internet is texting them, "Hey, that other dude's right around the corner from you."
I actually think that's probably likely on his live stream. I bet there were comments, "Cog's right around the corner."
Right. He's coming up behind you. Right. That could certainly be perceived as a threat.
Yeah. He didn't seem to know that they were there looking. And then when they go back around the corner, suddenly he comes around.
Right,
he's like, "What's up? What's up?" So it's almost like that has happened. So that's the initial encounter. And there's just a knockdown, I believe, at that point. It doesn't look like fists were thrown in that first one.
No, it's a push.
And so then he gets back up and there's a square off, and it's kind of hard to determine what happens next. But at this point, I don't even know how to analyze it at that point, because it's like
the guy in the polo threw a punch at one point for sure.
Oh yeah, he definitely there's in this second encounter after he is subsequently knocked down.
I got distracted by all the belly flying around.
So much,
lot of belly.
So much,
lot of belly.
Now, if I tell you you're fat, you're fat.
There is a pause frame that I might need to pull up.
Freeze frame. Freeze frame.
The forward button.
The IHOP MMA steel cage match.
Yeah, the stand up freeze frame is bad. But yeah, there's a lot of questions there. Now these Cog and Dan, the two people who were not on the ground, were actually briefly arrested and detained by the Portuguese police. It is alleged, I'm not sure of this, it is alleged that Ralph had reported to the police that they had knives. And when the police found out that there were no knives involved and they did not have any knives in their possession, that they let them go. He also did allege on Twitter that Dan must have had brass knuckles or something because he got cut under his chin. Now, I watched that fight a couple times, and I do not see any evidence of brass knuckles. And I think if there would have been brass knuckles involved, he would have been in a hospital with much
Yeah,
more than
no.
a cut
Yes,
under
No,
his chin.
brass knuckles, they crush facial bones. I mean, it's
Yeah.
completely different. You don't just get a scratch under your chin.
So anyway, that's what happened. But I think the lesson for everyone to learn is, if you are the type of person who someone will fly to another country to track you down and beat you up, maybe
Just wait for it. Wait for it, legal vices. Wait for it. I'm gonna
Just-
find you on the streets of Busan.
Yeah.
maybe modify your approach. You may have some abrasiveness issues involved in that, but
Yeah,
I know-
you just go the boogie route and just start blasting.
I know people have been asking for an analysis of it, and I think we've given it. Once that first encounter is there, I see it almost as a continuous encounter until I would say the last one. And I would suggest that Dan is actually the aggressor on the last one. Ralph is backing away. Dan follows him. He ends up grabbing him and throwing him into the street, taking him down into the street. I think at that point, Ralph and Cog and Dan had initially communicated that the combat was over. They were both retreating, and then Dan went to pursue him back. So I do think on that one, I would probably find that Dan was the aggressor there. That seemed like the encounter should have been over, but on the initial one, it's a little bit it's a little bit more difficult to figure out. I don't
Well,
know if
and
there's any-
frankly, just going into the street changes things, right? I mean, now there's the potential to get run over by a car. It becomes a potentially deadly force encounter. You throw someone into traffic, that's not a fist fight anymore.
right. So
But
that was
I would assume that Portugal is a continental law system as opposed to a common law Anglo-American legal system, which I mean, like in Korea, Korean law is based on Japanese law that's based on German law. And there essentially is no right to self-defense in Korea.
that's wild.
Yeah,
I think
mutual
I'll stay
combat
here.
situations. So someone hits you, you hit them back, you've both committed assault on each other. That's essentially what it boils down to.
Okay.
You just take it. That's it. That's why a lot of the foreigners here, you're just told from the time you get here, if someone fights you, get out or just take it.
Yep.
Because
Mhm.
two people fighting, two people get charged with assault. It's like,
So I did promise an explanation of what a front ass is, and I have finally found the that is a front ass right there. This is not a photoshopped picture like in Spaceballs when they go through the transporter and
It
they're
looks like balls, though. I'm not
they're
gonna lie.
backwards. Well, they're big though, I guess, to his credit.
Well, he carries a purse. I don't think his balls are that big.
They're ovaries.
No,
So-
he's-
Okay.
So that's what that is.
he wears
it's
his
like when
ovaries on the
you're
outside.
confused about the front or the back. What
Yeah.
are we looking at here?
No, this okay. So you may have seen the movie Spaceballs, and when it's the spoof of like Star Wars and Star Trek combined, and when they go through the transporter, they come in and they're backwards, right? Like their head is looking, but when they look down, they see their ass. That's not what's happening here. This is actually a stomach. This is why he is called the gunt. That's what this is. That's a medical term. I'm pretty sure. I mean, from Zimbabwe, but it still is medicine. But yeah, so that's what that is. If people are ever wondering when I talk about this individual, what I'm referring to, that's that. So just for the edification and education of the chat. So that is the person who was allegedly going to fight Andy Worski, although he has now said that fight is off. Keemstar, who was the fight promoter, told him, bro, you need to learn how to fight. I could not possibly put you in a ring with any person. It just, wouldn't work. So that is that. Okay. What else is there to do? What else is